Hi, this is Jessica Cameron, and you're listening to The Break It Down Show.
And now, The Break It Down Show with John and Pete.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, tell us what you're up to.
Well, I'm a scream queen, originally from Canada, and I live in LA now, so I make horror films. And right now, all through the house, as we previously discussed with Miss Ashley, is going through the festival circuit with a release in the fall. Mania is also going through the film festival circuit as well.
Ooh, tell us about Mania.
Mania is my fucked up lesbian love story. And it's about a woman who suffers from severe mania and bipolar, and something causes her to flip and go to the dark side really quickly, and her lover's solution to this is to try to get away from it, to figure out what to do next. Unfortunately, during this thought process, a bunch of more people have to die.
Ooh.
So it's like a fun little bloody road trip. Think Thelma and Louise, but a lot more sex and nudity and a body count.
That sounds like my
I like
kind
this
of
movie.
Yeah.
I like this movie.
It's a fun one. I really, really, really like it.
When did you complete Mania?
We just completed it a couple months ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did
so
you direct that one?
I did direct that one.
Okay.
So, and we filmed it as part of a Kill the PA project. So we actually filmed 3 movies while traveling across America in an RV with 10 filmmakers. No, it's actually not.
No.
It's like the worst idea ever.
Smart
Do not
as in
listen.
Getting content is all I meant.
It's a fucking nightmare. That's what that
Can you
is.
imagine?
You ever want to commit suicide but not be able to because you're on a fucking RV for like 23 days? Don't fucking do it. It's fucking insane. Right? Kill the PA. So Kill the PA actually is turned, we haven't officially announced it, but I'll give you a sneak peek. We're turning it into a TV show because we've got so much content. So Kill the PA was the actual documentary portion of it, which was supposed to be a film following the process of making the movie. So it was supposed to be an honest and truthful look at independent filmmaking. The good, the bad, the really fucking ugly. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's exactly what it is. But we had so much great content that we had a 7-hour cut. So as we were like testing, we're like, fuck, what do we cut? We don't want to cut any of this. So we're like, screw it. We're going to make it into, right now, because of how TV show formatting works, we're not sure if it'll be 12 or 15. It'll be somewhere between 12 and 15 30-minute episodes, showcasing like the entire duration. But it's really an honest and truthful look at all the pain, suffering, and the great moments as well of independent filmmaking. And it's like probably going to be the most controversial thing I ever do, because I've already had people tell me like, you can't show that. You can't. I was like, yeah, I fucking can. You signed a waiver.
Yes.
Sorry about your luck.
Wow.
And it's not about, for me, it never was about vanity projects. It's not about making anyone look good or bad. It's just, this is what happened. This is how it is. And if you're a bad person, you're probably going to look bad on here. Mm-hmm. If you're a good person, you're going to look good on there. That's totally fucking fine. You know, that's what it is.
All you did was capture.
Mm-hmm. All we did is capture, and that's literally all it is. Mm-hmm. You know, we had one guy, one camera, so there's no hidden cameras.
We
really want to keep it really authentic.
That I did,
right?
Toward everybody else.
And it's like the funny, like the 2 people that have had themselves and other people come to be like, oh, can you make this person not look that way? I'm like, but you have to understand, like they look this way like every day for 23 days. So it's not like somebody was like a genuinely good person, they had a bad day. No, I'm like, if you're a psycho bitch, you're gonna clearly be a psycho bitch in the documentary.
Wow.
Maybe you should make better life choices and be a nice human being.
Treat people, yeah, right.
You know?
Treat people a little differently.
You know?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So what does that look like to the listeners listening to the show? What does that look like when you guys are on the bus? How often does he have the camera on?
Always.
Like,
Always.
Okay.
He had the camera rolling basically every moment that could be filmed towards the last end, because with Mania, there was a bit less footage shot only because we have a bunch of car scenes, and there was no physical way to put the documentary guy in the car, because you have to understand we had 2 actors, myself, a sound guy, and a DP in a 5-person car with all the equipment. So it's like literally like I'm like behind, usually like crouched on the floor, like with my legs up so that I'm like not in frame, with like the director's monitor, and then the DP is like next to me, and the sound guy and the boom. You know what I mean?
There's a
so there just was no room.
There's lights in the car.
Exactly.
Somebody's got to hold a bounce card somewhere.
There's no bounce car in the car. Fuck that. No. So, we had lights, and that's all.
But,
like no bouncing. No bouncing in the car.
But the thing is, you went through the filmmaking process and completely separate to that.
Yeah, we just had a documentary while it was going on. So nothing was, and nothing was going to be, like, we had, the policies were everybody is just exactly what they are. There is no repeating. So our documentary filmmaker, Aaron, was never allowed. No do-overs. No, none of that. And here's the thing, like, there's photos where I'm like, oh my God, that's like the worst angle ever. I look 20 pounds heavier, but there's no do-overs, you know, like, it's a documentary camera. Guess what? He had the bad fucking angle. Deal with it. You know what I mean? Oh, we all do. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's a realistic doc. You're not going to look great all the time, both actually in how you handle yourself or your physical appearance. Like, there's times with no makeup where I haven't slept.
You didn't ask anybody to do anything you weren't also willing to
absolutely. Do. Completely, 100%. The
viewers the truth behind it, and that's what.
Well, because that's what I think is so fascinating and so interesting, and I spend so much of my time explaining to people the independent filmmaking process that I really feel like we need that. It's kind of like a television version of Rebel Without a Crew, you know. And it's not like, I know that we have Project Greenlight, but let's be honest, that's not fucking real. It's so not real. I watched that and I'm like, that is not how independent film works. Yeah, maybe if you've got millions of dollars, Matt Damon and a bunch of high profile people, you can stress over the fact that the floor is not exactly right in the mansion that you're renting for $45,000 a day. Fuck you. I don't have $45,000 to make a movie, let alone to rent the mansion. So I really feel like it's needed. And hopefully the whole point of it is to be helpful. And hopefully people can learn. And I'm a big believer that, you know, you should learn from other people's mistakes because they don't cost you money. So I'm like, these mistakes cost me money. I hope somebody else can benefit from them and not do some of the things that I did. But also with independent film, it's fascinating because it's one of those like laws of independent filmmaking, which is just almost always everything that can go wrong will go wrong. And things that you're like, I never thought this could have gone wrong will go horribly wrong. And you're like, how the fuck did that happen? And I'm one of those people who like, I always have like an A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And even I am endlessly amazed at like, wow. That really went off the rails. I did not see that coming. I'm really glad I had a backup, but I did not think I would need that backup.
Did you say you guys made 2 movies or 3 movies?
We made two narrative films and then a documentary. Yes. Okay. So everything about the films were like normal independent filmmaking, with the exception of the fact that we were traveling across country. So we hadn't seen all of our locations, but we had done location scouting either through our friends who were in those cities that we were filming in.
You were shooting all guerrilla then, no permits, no nothing.
Well, no, but you don't have to have permits anywhere outside of LA. So I mean, outside of LA, it's not really so much guerrilla as it's just indie. You know what I mean?
It's guerrilla here in New York.
Correct. Yeah. But even then, we didn't shoot. Did we shoot anything? We didn't shoot anything, and we shot one scene in LA at the very end, and that's it. So we didn't really have to deal with that anyways. And we had like all of our lights and everything, and the actual RV that we rented had a generator, so we could function all of our lights wherever we wanted to be. And then we had a bunch of locations already locked down and everything. There was a few locations, just like simple things like restrooms, which of course is not as simple when you need them because they stop.
That's like a backup really fast.
Right. Well, like we wanted to shoot a simple rest stop scene in Alabama, and then realized that they don't have normal rest stops, at least not all through the like 4-hour drive that we were in. Like their highways are like, it's really weird actually. All of the highways had like houses like right, almost like it was like a city street, but then you're going 70 miles an hour. And there's 4 lanes of traffic, but the houses are like right there. And then they don't have rest stops. They would have these like convenience stores that were always like really small and really jam packed, like floor to ceiling with product. So we're like, there's no fucking way to shoot in here at all because you can't show them coming in and out of there's just so much stuff you'd have to hide. So it was really, really challenging. So we rewrote it for a hotel. And then ironically, we got a hotel room and it was like a converted storage locker that totally looked janky. And then the woman, it was so questionable. And then they took issue with us. And they're like, you can't be here because like they saw that we had more people in the RV than they thought that we had. And I assume they thought that we were doing something wrong with the camera footage and stuff. So like, no. So they gave us our money back. So we had to find another hotel. Just again, like guerrilla shoot. Cause we're like, by the time most places across America will give you a free use to film, but by the time you actually go through and get it, you killed like half your day. You know what I mean? So there is like a great moment for Desolation, the other narrative film, which is in post. So we'll be finishing that this year, and it'll start its festival run. That movie, we needed a chapel, a small town chapel. that was one of those chapels that we wanted it to basically look like it was abandoned, but not quite. And we had there's a bunch of ghost towns in Kansas, and there's actually like 5 or 6 of them that had chapels that various people that I know have seen in the last couple of years. We're like, okay, we can get to all these places without much sidestepping. We're going to go here first. If we don't like what's there, we're going to go here. We're going to go there, and that was our plan of attack. But then while we were driving through New Mexico, we're like getting B-roll footage of just the actors driving. And I'm like, holy shit, that's like the exact chapel right there. We'd found like the picture perfect, like if you would have given me $2 million and said, build the identical chapel that's in the script, this is exactly what I would have built. Mm-hmm. And it was next to an abandoned shack that totally looked like freaking frightening because they clearly had not been inhabited legally for a long, long time. It had Satan symbols on the walls, which is perfect because I didn't want to, because it's like the end kill fight scene, so I didn't want to actually put blood in a chapel. So I was like, cool, we can splice up the final scenes so that they run from the chapel over there. So the fight starts in the chapel, but it doesn't get bloody and nasty until the place where we can throw shit on the ground there. Nobody's going to care if we get blood on the walls. It's already blood. Yeah. It's probably real. We'll just add fake to it. But then, so we go in and there's a big no trespassing sign on the fence, and then there's a big no trespassing sign on the actual chapel, but the doors are open. Okay. So we go in, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy in a pickup truck shows up, and he's very scary looking. And I'm like, nobody say a damn thing. So I go over and I'm like, hi, I'm Jessica. I'm shooting this movie. He turned out to be the nicest guy ever. Mm. He was there because they lost power. They were having issues. It was a little ghost town. There's like 5 inhabitants in this town. And I was like, can we shoot a movie here? And he's like, you have to talk to my sister. She runs it. So he gets his sister on the phone. And she's like, you have to come and speak to the priest. He runs all of the churches in this area. So we have like this great part of the documentary where I'm like, what can I say to, obviously,
we're shooting a horror movie.
Right. Well, but I'm like, I don't feel like burning in hell today. But I feel like if I tell him it's a horror movie about a religious zealot hitchhiker, the answer is going to be no. So if I say it's a thriller, I feel like that's not a burn in hell offense. Mm-hmm. Maybe like a couple Hail Marys. I feel like I can get a pass on that.
Only if the movie's good.
Right? So I'm like, okay, let's say that. So just like figuring out what we're going to say. And they were totally cool. And they were actually, so he stays at this beautiful, huge, amazing, multi-million-dollar cathedral that's stunning. And he was just like, do you want to shoot here? It's so much prettier. And I'm like, oh my God, you have no idea, but it's so not right for the script. But yes, I do want to kill somebody in this gorgeous place.
I'd like to be an extra.
We'll be back.
Right? Right? I was like, oh my God, we would so be back. So that's what we did. But then the other thing that's really funny in post-production on the documentary, so we have all the footage of like everyone walking into the secondary building. And everyone's just like, oh my God, we should not be here and here. Like, are we going to get killed? Like, this is clearly, nobody should be here. Like, this is, like, it's one of those places too, like, you walk in and you just, like, have this weight on your shoulder of just, like, death, decay, and bad stuff. It's like that thing where, like, all the hairs on your arm pricks and it's like, get out, get out, get out, get out. Do not be here. You should not be here. No good comes from this. Get out. So when we were in post-production just a couple months ago.
Just describe Pete's bathroom.
That's good.
It's frightening. But so when we were in post-production, my director and editor who's working on it Googled, and he had found it like that 3 or 5 days prior, there's news footage of like news crews in the identical building basically have the same reaction because it was a suspected scene of a murder, but they didn't bother to block it off because they're like, nobody lives here, it's a ghost town. But yeah, it's like suspected. And
you guys showed up.
Yeah, well, we showed up like 3 or 5 days later after, and it's not like they I guess they either found a body or they are looking for the body, but they feel like it happened.
That's where it happened.
The bad stuff happened in that place that we were at like a couple days later.
What with the blood and the brain matter on the wall.
You almost had a Scooby-Doo episode happen.
Right?
Right there. If you guys
could have
solved it.
Yeah. My life is a Scooby-Doo episode.
And then you guys have to stay in there and shoot.
Right? Yeah, well, we stayed. We filmed. Yeah, we filmed there.
I would have gotten away with it, too, if it weren't for you meddling filmmakers.
Yeah. Right? Story of my life. Who knows? There might have been like the killer in the back. Who knows? I mean, we didn't go check out all of the house. We just filmed in the parts that we needed and lit it up.
All right, too many zombies gonna do nothing.
Right?
Where you at?
But it's like one of those things where it's just like so interesting because you're like, only in independent filmmaking did this ever happen.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete Turner.
And if you like the show,
do us a favor.
Yeah, share it.
That's the biggest thing, honestly.
All your social media outlets, all your friends, let them know the ones that you like.
Yeah. I mean, we make this show for you guys. If you think it's great, say so. Say so by sharing it. Say so by putting a comment in after the show.
Also, if you go to iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to podcasts, give us a rating. Give us a review. If you think the show is great, please give us 5 stars and say so. And if you think the show really sucks, please give us 5 stars and say so.
Because, heck, we're listening.
That's right.
You can't be more approachable than us. We want to make the show better. If there's something that we're missing, let us know. That really is how you help us.
That's right. Tell us all about it. Thanks for listening.
And now back to the show.
So right now we're trying to get access to the news footage, like permission to use it legally in the documentary. Because the fact that it so mirrors our own like crew walking in. I'm like, of course it happened that week. Of course it did.
Hang on though. I want everybody not to lose sight of the fact that you were simultaneously shooting 2 different movies.
Well, we weren't simultaneously is a little bit of a not accurate statement.
Concurrently?
Yeah. Well, what we did is we had it all scheduled. So we were shooting most of Desolation on the way across country, and we shot most of Mania on the way back. There were a few scenes that, depending upon locations that we needed, where it just made sense to pick this up. But for the most part, it was all of this movie here, all of that movie there.
Okay.
So they were right back to back, but they weren't like, it's not like we were switching between the 2 films in the same
You
day.
didn't take the same route.
No. We took a very different route for all the other locations we needed.
Got it.
Correct. Very, very different, just to make sure that we got the locations.
Because you would have to be a continuity master.
Boy.
Oh, I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you probably didn't have a script soup on that.
No,
But we had like I'm
Notes would
pretty
be-
good with that, and I think our AD was really good. Like we all kind of had like the mentality of just keep it out.
On the
No.
Because that usually helps
Nope.
because they just know, they just kind of memorize stuff sometimes. Yeah.
But a lot of the time, like when you're shooting an independent film, in my opinion, script soups are really nice to have. But at the end of the day, when you're shooting, it's not like you have to match. It's like you're like literally, we're shooting 12 pages that day. So you have
the script.
Well, but also like
You
we're
know
going
the
from like
scene
A to
number.
B to C to D. It's not like we're doing like 2 pages a day.
Correct.
At which point it's like your hair has to match. You know, you might have like 10 days of shooting that coincides with one actual film day in the life of the film, and they all have to match. It's a little bit different, I think, when it gets to like low budget indies where it's like you're shooting out so much less. It's more, and too, like even like with actors, there's like mannerisms, but you always get coverage. Then you kind of see like, okay, what works, what didn't. You know, so it wasn't, you know, we had to be really selective about what roles were on the bus because we only had, like, technically the RV held 7 people legally, which meant there were 7 seatbelts. And then we decided to have 10 people on the bus, like on the RV, in theory, just so that we could make sure that we could have as many people as possible that we needed to make the movie, knowing that everybody was aware that, hey, look, we don't legally have enough seatbelts for you, unfortunately. Are you okay with that? And luckily everyone was like, yeah. And to be fair, on an RV, most people don't wear a seatbelt anyways. Like, they're not sitting wearing a seatbelt. You know, technically for an RV, you're not supposed to be in the actual, like, beds in the back or on top, but that's where everyone wants to hang out and chill.
Yeah.
You know, so we had to be really selective though, because, you know, try to cast and crew, like your primary roles and your crew, 10 people, take your pick. You know, we couldn't even have, we had a special effects artist, we couldn't have a makeup artist. Like a beauty makeup artist, yeah. But luckily, I mean, I've got some experience in that, so I helped out with that. And then we bought our 2 primary girls for Mania. We bought them specific makeup kits for themselves and advised them like how to do the makeup that we wanted.
Okay, that's good.
So, because like for me, the biggest thing about that a makeup artist can do on an independent film set is just like their quality of makeup is typically a lot better than what most people have. Mm-hmm. So if you buy them the right quality and show them how to do it, in theory, a lot of people can do it themselves. But we had to be really judicial because, like I say, there's just not enough spots. And we had other people coming out, and we had other actors obviously joining us. So it's like we had actors in Arizona and Alabama and Ohio and all these places that we stopped, as well as extra crew. But we had to really be, it was a big planning logistical struggle.
Yeah,
That is fucking cool.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
You like to keep busy too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
do like
really
to
is
keep busy.
producing. I
You
mean,
got the whole circus.
your ability to take that circus and put it on the road and have things join in and fall out and join in and
It was
fall out
hard.
along the way, that's terrific.
It was hard. And we traveled half the way with like our male lead for Desolation, and then he flew out back home once we got to Ohio, and then Ellie, who's a female lead in Mania, drove to us in Ohio, and then we used her car as the main character's car for the first part of it, and then we drove with the car and the RV to Indiana, dropped off her car, shot the rest of the movie, and then flew her back home from LA to Indiana.
Wow.
Yeah, but all of this was like logistically worked out well beforehand, so all of it But I mean, there's all, you know, when you watch the documentary, there's hiccups. Like,
Yeah.
we drove, we ended up hitting a blizzard. There's like a 20% chance of snow. And of course, we hit like the worst blizzard that I'd seen, you know.
And you're from Canada.
Right? The worst blizzard I'd seen in you know, Ohio, Indiana area. Not the worst I'd seen. It was definitely not Canada bad, but when you take a lot of Americans, because the one thing that nobody did is bring winter clothes, you know, because everyone, you know, was coming from California.
Awesome.
So nobody had winter clothing. So if you look at some of the behind the scenes photo, you'll see like all the crew and stuff bundled up in like our blankets from the RV, because it's just what we had. You know, we had blankets, you know, we didn't have winter coats. We had blankets. So it is what it is. But then what do you do when you have all these shots that you had planned and there's no snow in the feature films? Right? And the wardrobe is not snow appropriate either. Like, not a hope in hell. Like, the wardrobe is like late summer. So we had to like reschedule that and then find exteriors in Arizona and Alabama that would match the interiors of the stuff that we'd shot in Indiana, Ohio, and all that area to make sure that it coincides so that we could do everything.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I think it was, we would go through, it was about $100, I believe, to fill up the tank. And we had to fill up the tank every 3 hours of driving. And it's like 36 hours of driving from where we were, 36 to 44, somewhere in that ballpark.
You spent $4,000 on gas.
Yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah. And that's not including like the other gas too, because there was obviously, you know, when we had Ellie's car, there was gas.
Yeah,
we had to get a rental car to try to match her car, and then we couldn't get a rental car that would match her car, so then we had to like shoot it so that it would look identical. And it was actually really funny because she had a blue Toyota Yaris. She had a hatchback Toyota Yaris, and we called it ahead, and I made like all these phone calls as we were driving, and I was assured that I would get a blue Toyota Yaris rental. And then I found out that they just lie and tell you what you want to hear in Arizona at car rental places. They had it wasn't blue, it wasn't a Yaris, and it wasn't a hatchback.
Wow.
So we had to get a gray something. So we made it work, and it was really funny because like my DP and I, you'll see us arguing on the dock. He's like, it's not going to work. We have to cut the scene. I was like, no, we're not cutting the scene. I'm going to trim the end of it so you don't see her going behind the hatchback, which is the only time that the hatchback is actually assembled. We're going to darken this. We're going to do this. It's going to be fine. And in the final edit of the film, it is. But the funny thing is, when I went back, we went back for one day of reshoots for just like little things that we didn't get. And I drove to Ohio. Ohio and Indiana. So my DP lives in Ohio, Ellie lives in Indiana, and I was in LA. So I was like, okay, I want to shoot a couple things with the Ohio people that we used, and then a couple things with Ellie. So I flew back to Ohio, and I go to get my rental car, and they're like, oh, we only have this one rental car. I don't know if you're going to like it. I hope you do. It's weird. It doesn't ever get rented, but it's all we have. So if you don't like it, we can talk about an SUV. And I was like, I don't want an SUV. Whatever you have is fine. And son of a bitch, it's a fucking blue Toyota Yaris hatchback. I kid you not. I kid you not. So, no, well, we didn't need to. Like, we had positioned we had worked around the shots and everything and the edit so that we didn't need to reshoot the car stuff. I just wanted a couple extra close-ups. Brilliant. Yeah, it's just so funny. So, like, I pull up next to her blue Toyota Yaris hatchback, and I'm like, my car is like literally, and they were a year different in age. So, like, my car is like just a slightly different shade of blue that nobody other than me would notice. And I'm like, come on down and look at this. And everyone's like, you've got to be kidding me. Of course. You like make all these calls, get promised a blue Toyota Yaris hatchback, and it's not there. And then you don't want it, and it's the only car they have.
I love the inside joke that only the guy who works at the blue Toyota Yaris factory would get.
Right?
You'd be like, wait a minute. That was not a 97. That was a 98.
Yeah.
So, come on in, Phil. So, that is astounding. The amount of logistical mess that you have to work through. First of all, the amount of logistical mess that you created and then had to undo.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, like, and films are constantly evolving. So I feel like they're constantly evolving whether you're doing it across the country or not. You know what I mean? Because, like, things happen. Yeah. You know, we had another location that was locked down with my friend, who is somebody I know very well for a very long time. And she just had such a panic attack, like, 2 days before we were supposed to film there, about how, like, she's a type A personality. She just felt that her house was too messy to have people in. And I was like, it is not. Let me assure you. Let me promise you this fun little fact. But she freaked out, so we had to find another one. Yeah, I was like, trust me. I was like, your house on the worst day is nothing. And keep in mind, we're going to strip it all down and change it all up anyway.
This is an opportunity to get somebody else to clean your house.
Yeah.
Can I introduce you to Phil?
Of course.
Phil,
Hi,
this
Phil.
is Jessica. She's a filmmaker and she's insane.
Nice to meet you. That's quite the intro.
we're doing back-to-back podcasts, and we're not even going to try to hide it. So in walks Phil. He's going to be our next episode.
Hi, Phil. Also known as next episode.
Next something.
So to catch you up, Jessica made 2 movies in an RV. One traveling
Across
to
America.
the East Coast, and the other one traveling back.
And then I filmed it, the whole process for a documentary.
Right.
We
And
got so much
documented the whole
footage
thing.
that we're going to do a 12 to 15, 30-minute episode series.
So I have to ask. I assume that there was a point where they met.
Scoochie and close.
What do you mean where they met?
Were they? If there was an RV traveling from the East Coast to the West Coast, and vice versa.
No. We traveled all the way there, and then we did all the way back. So we kept our crew, and then we alternated cast, and then we had extra cast and crew depending upon the points that we were filming at, like the primary locations where we were trying to stay at.
People jumped in.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
Let me ask
Crazy.
you. So, I'm part-time as a hobby. I have a race car my friends and I drive, and it's a piece of shit. And one of the things that we'll typically do is drive across country, towing.
Did you guys know that there's a piece of shit race car circuit, and people bring out their pieces of shit?
I'm not surprised.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And really, someone needs to do a documentary on it because it's ridiculously funny and entertaining.
I feel like they would just all break down.
No, they do.
They do.
They do constantly. 40% of the cars are off the track at any given moment, and catastrophically so. And then we manically try to get these cars fixed, no matter what happens. You have to stick the checkered flag. It's ridiculous. Because everything we have is a piece of shit, when we drive from here to Milwaukee or here to Daytona, everything goes crazy. And so just the fact that we have an RV with a trailer on the road, there are logistical problems that happen. And that's what I deal with on our side. I run this circus.
They're not even trying to shoot something.
Yeah. So what I'm going to get to is surely something blew up on your rig or...
Oh, yeah. We had
There you go.
everything that could happen, everything goes wrong. I loved, at one point, I woke up in the morning and the crew that was sleeping in the RV, because some places we tried to get a hotel room at night so that our DIT guy could work. And then, so we had one hotel room and that could also be used as a secondary shower. And then we had other people sleeping in the RV, and we were trying to separate the snorers from the non-snorers, because I didn't take that into account when planning. Although I planned everything down to a T, I didn't ask that. And I should have. I should have. If you are doing anything on an RV, if you're doing anything on a freaking RV, you better ask, because one snoring person on the RV will keep every single other snoring person up. And the other thing, you have to run the generator constantly in order to do all the electrical work, so you can't have the DIT guy working. So it just was one of the things that we had to get a secondary, an actual hotel room. But that being said, we had at one point when I came out of the hotel room in the morning, nobody in the RV had slept, and I was like, what the hell? And they're like, we froze our asses off. We think we have pneumonia, because it wouldn't work.
And by the way, fuck Larry.
Yeah.
Larry the snorer.
Yeah.
Larry everybody up.
No. This had nothing to do with that. This was the generator wasn't working. The heater wasn't working on the RV. So it's in the middle of this blizzard, and they froze their fucking asses off, so nobody could sleep. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me this? What it is when when an RV goes below 25% of gas, some of the RV things don't work. So you just have to fill up the tank. So you always try to keep it 25 to full.
Yeah.
Right. So, because you can't, if you go below 25, literally only
Starts
you
going
drive.
on life support. Only the essentials.
Only you could do is drive. And I was like, all we had to do was go to the fucking gas station 2 minutes away, put gas in the fucking thing, and you could have slept. But no. They're like, we don't want to wake you. I was like, no, you wake me so I don't have a crew that hasn't slept. I mean, we're all already sleep deprived already.
Right.
And now you're going to do this? No. So, that happened. There was a point where, literally, we're shooting in Ohio, and it's Saturday, and the other director of the first movie, so I directed the second, and I acted in the first. The director of the first movie crewed my movie, right? The second movie. He hits the director's monitor, knocks it onto a concrete floor, it shatters, right? This is Saturday in Ohio. So there's no 24-hour rental houses open. So we're like, okay, cool. So we get a few phone calls.
Rental houses of a director's monitor.
Right.
And by the way, I'm taking it on the road. I'll mail it back to you guys.
Right. Well, but that's
They
fine.
don't have those in Dayton.
Well, they don't have those in Dayton, but they do in major areas, but they don't over there. So that's we're crap. Okay, that's fine. We've still got the EVFs on the camera. Cut to 8 hours later, we're filming something, and I'm peering over my DP's shoulder. And I'm like, cut, Josh, remove the EVF. It's on fire. Remove it now. So it started smoking, a lot of smoke. A lot. So my priority is the camera, right? Because of course we don't want anything to happen to our 4K camera. So he gets it off and he opens it up, and it turns out a fluke. A wire had become bare on the inside of this EVF, rubbed up against a circuit board, causing a small fire inside of the EVF, frying it. and now the EVF is useless. So we have nothing. So right now it's like midnight on Saturday in Ohio. No rental house to get a new EVF or monitor is open until Monday. You can't even get anything shipped here until Tuesday. So we're calling everybody we know. So I make the judgment call. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, what do we have to film? So I'm like, here's what we can film tomorrow. We're going to go to Walmart and get a 19-inch television, and that's going to be our monitor. And then but my DP was like, hell no, we are not doing that. We are not filming that on the dock. We're going to look. I was like, no, we're going to do whatever the fuck it takes because we can't not shoot a day. We have to film tomorrow.
By the way, for you documentary hounds who want to see the independent film process, this is the fucking process.
Right?
This shit breaks, this shit blows up.
And what can you do?
Something.
Right? So I'm begging and borrowing like everybody I know. I'm like, do you have an EVF? Do you have a monitor?
This is awesome that you had an alternative.
Well, I mean, you make it work.
Out of nothing.
You make it work. And luckily I had Jordan Pacheco, who is my effects artist. And I'm like, Jordan, how long do you think you can hold? Because again, we don't have a stand strong enough to hold a 19-inch television that's like extra. So I'm like, can you hold it? He's like, yeah, because he's a bear. So he's like just holding it the entire day. Yeah. And at one point, like we have a running scene. So he's like running backwards. I'm like, oh my God, don't kill yourself. We had cops show up. I think 3 times we had police.
Of course.
Only once was for us, and they thought we were making a porn because we had one of our actresses walking down the street in a nightgown, and somebody reported us. And so I was like, no, we're just making a student film.
And I was on a park bench like this.
Right? We're just doing a student movie. It's totally fine. But the funny thing was, so then we're like, crap, we have to find somewhere else to shoot the sex scene. So we hadn't even got to the sex scene, but there was a sex scene outside in this neighborhood in Arizona. So we're like, crap, we're going to have to go somewhere else. We drove around for 2 hours, couldn't find a location that we liked. So we're like, screw it. What are the odds they're going to show up a second time? We're like, let's just go and do it. No, they didn't. They were so upset when they found out that we weren't shooting a porn. Like, they literally, there was 4 SUVs and I think like 13 officers. Who were like, what do you got? We heard, of course, because they heard that they were thinking that we were shooting a porn film. Yeah. They were all there, and we're like, no, it's just a movie. And like, the nightgown, it wasn't even particularly revealing. So I'm like, I can't believe, of everything I've done in my, like, this is what gets the cops out. I was like, I believe I do things in my daily life that warrants police officer interaction much higher than this. You know, if this is really what it takes,
all the time,
so surprising.
Around for 3 hours looking for a place to have sex.
Yeah. So, well, we actually just went right back there and just had the sex and the kill scene right there. And I was like, fuck it, call me. Call on me. What are you going to do? Right. So they never showed up again at that location.
They probably got called and they were like,
probably
are
did.
they in an RV? Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, no, we've already seen it. They're fine. Yeah, we've been there. We talked to them. They're shooting a student movie. What I love about that line, too, is nobody ever asks.
They know.
They're just like, a student movie? Okay. No, they're just like, whatever. I use that, we guerrilla shot at a gas station. And did it brilliantly. You can't see any logos, but it's clearly a gas station that we didn't bother to have permission to film at. And we told the attendants, student film, no worries. But we actually ended up going back to that gas station over 2 days, like so many times, because just we needed, paper towels and water and energy drinks and coffee. And they were so nice. And they're like, can we just, anytime you want to do anything, just let us know. We'll be extra. We'll help out. Yeah, and they were so nice. But then they kept on like talking, like they're like, so what class are you in? And I kept on lying. And I don't lie often. So finally I like just came clean. And I was like, guys, I've got to be honest with you. I mean, I feel like we've been friends now that I've seen you guys like 17 times in the last 48 hours.
You see me in my nightgown.
But I was like, I'm not a student. That was just a lie. I just didn't want you to tell your boss that we were shooting a movie that I totally intend to sell and make money and not pay you guys anything for using your gas station. And they're like, no, man, that's cool. We don't care. We don't own the gas station. I was like, awesome. Yeah. Glad we had this talk. So that being said, I will absolutely hire you as free labor next time I'm in your town because I like free labor.
I go to, where are we?
Right.
Omaha State.
All the time.
Yeah. So,
but nobody even asked me that.
Names of both movies.
Okay, so we shot Mania, which is my fucked up lesbian love story that I directed.
Awesome.
And then we shot, which is doing festival runs right now. So if you want it at a festival, let the festival and me know, and we'll work to make it happen. Okay. I know that it's premiering the trailer tonight at Widescreen Film Festival in Florida. We're doing action on film that's just outside of Los Angeles. Yeah, with Dell. He liked it. I feel like it's kind of Dell's movie, right? I love that guy. And then we're doing Buffalo Niagara International Film Festival. And then we have a bunch of others that I'm not supposed to announce as of yet. So look for it over the next 6 months. We shot Desolation, which is the road female hitchhiker film, which I star in. And that's going to be doing the festival rounds later on towards the end of this year.
Terrific.
And then
and who directed that?
Ryan M. Andrews.
Okay.
And then we shot our documentary series, which is directed by Aaron M. Lane, and that's going to be turned into a television show, and it's called Kill the PA, or Kill the Production Assistant.
I want to see that. I might have somebody for that.
Yeah, like a distributor?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, let's talk about that. Because, like, I think that, to me, is, like, honestly, like, I love Mania, but as, like, the filmmaker, I'm, like, even, like, my mentor, he's like, I can't believe nobody's ever done this before. It's kind of really great. Yeah, we've got we've got some episodes. We're actually already done 6 of them. Although we are holding back on the color and the final sound until we see who wants it, because if you know anything about reality shows or docu-reality shows, they all sort of have a formula that they follow, so the edits will probably change, which is why we're like, we don't want to spend too much time making them really polished. I think we want to focus majorly on the edit themselves to make sure the edit's really strong.
I met somebody who works in color one time. Anyway.
Yeah, I love colorists. They're fantastic people. It's such a process for filmmaking. But yeah, we're actually over half done with the series. So,
do you ever slow down?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm actually
like a 3-part show in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
My life. I'm currently like right now. So we've got that Truth or Dare is going through distribution right now. So I don't have a release date, but we're looking at the fall for Truth or Dare. For that one. And then I have Save Yourself and obviously All Through the House, also doing festival circuits right now. And then I'm in pre-production on An Ending, which hasn't been released, but it's my artistic action horror that I'm going to co-direct and act in. So we're going to see. I've struggled before in the past acting and directing at the same time. I did it for Truth or Dare, and it was really hard. And then on Mania, I was like, I'm not going to act in it. I'm just going to direct it. But then what I found is getting actors who are really understanding of an independent film set and easy to work with can be hard. So I was like, okay, let's see if this helps. Let's see if getting a co-director
just can keep up with you,
right?
Is enough of a challenge.
It's tricky, but I'm really happy about An Ending because the cast that we have is really fantastic. And then once I get finished with that one, and because I'm co-directing it, I'm going to take second point on the post-production, and Josh Kara, who's co-directing it with me, is going to take lead. And then I'm going to come back to LA and I'm going to be in pre-production on Besties, which will be the next film that I direct, which I'm really excited about. It's we all see those movies about a group of friends who find themselves trapped in a room and they have to figure out how they got there and how to get out.
My favorite type of movies.
Right. So my movie starts on day 5 and nobody's coming to save them.
Love that.
Wow.
You're starting late.
Yes. Well, because all of those movies take place on day 1 through 3. We all know what happens 1 through 3. You're going to wake up. You're going to process who did it. You're going to try to figure out how to get out. Somebody's probably going to open the door and you're going to jump him and he's either going to have somebody else or a gun and somebody's going to die. So the interesting thing for me is if you're trapped in a room, it
pick
doesn't,
up after that stuff.
Yeah, it gets really interesting when you're legitimately starving and dying of thirst, because that changes how people think and interact. And what would that do to a group of best friends? How would that change everything? And then on top of it, what if nobody was coming? What if there is nobody, or it doesn't appear to be? Like you can't jump somebody who doesn't open the fucking door.
Right.
What do you do? To me, I want to see that. Where does that go? Because I didn't know until I wrote the script, or I came up with it. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. And then after that, we'll do...
And then?
Right? And then. No.
Well, first of all, I would kill and eat Pete.
Yeah,
right?
I'm delicious.
Well, but that's the process, right? Like, could you do it? I mean, and if you ask a lot of people, and I have at this point, most people can't. Most people are like, no, I could never eat somebody I knew. I'm like, oh man, that's a shame.
You're starving it.
Not hungry enough.
But you're not. You're not. I mean, how long can you survive? Was it
without food?
12 days?
Oh, it's fine.
It's water is like the other part.
I'm a little afraid.
Not months.
I know. It depends on what time of year.
Water though? That's another story.
Yeah, water like is something like 3 to 5.
Yeah.
But like the desire to eat, you still like on day 5 or 6. It would be a very different if you've not eaten or drinking. Like the desire to, like the survival mode kicks in around day 5 or 6, depending upon who you are. And more so because like our film, the girls were drinking the night before. So that's going to kick all that up. So it's going to feel like on your body day 8 or 9 because your body is already coming out.
Man, way to ratchet it up.
Yes. Well, and that's exactly why it makes it even more.
I just can't help but wonder if you actually are in that situation. If you look at a friend and you're starving, if they actually look like a big chicken leg.
Okay. I mean, I don't think about that. I mean, I think they still look like your friend. You're just like, I wonder what you would taste like.
Have you seen that movie, Unbroken? I think his first name's Ernie, but Zamperini. He was in like the 36 Olympics, and then next thing you know, he's in World War II in a plane, and it goes down the ocean. And Laura Hildebrand wrote the book. It's an actual guy, World War II. And so they're
this guy was at the top of the world, was about to just win gold medal in everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
he ran the fastest mile unofficially in 40, like the day before he goes into the Pacific Ocean. And they float with nothing. So they crash. 3 guys make it out. They're in the raft, and they've got like provisions that are attached to the raft. They pull it out. Well, during the night, one of the guys is like, I ate all of it.
Yeah, fucking kill that guy.
First guy to go.
Right. He's the first guy to die, but he dies because he just goes crazy. That's the other thing that happens when you don't eat. But they're in a boat floating for like the longest recorded time, and they survive, and it's over 45 days. And they basically ate pelican or whatever they could catch. But even then, they were so weakened by everything, they weren't getting anything out of it.
They weren't cooking anything.
No, right. You guys really should check the story out. It's incredible. It's called Unbroken.
That much.
That was a movie? That was a book?
It's a book and a movie.
Okay.
They get rescued. I'm doing quotey fingers. They get rescued by the Japanese who are like, thanks.
Welcome.
I think Angelina Jolie directed that film.
That's right, she did.
Unbreakable or
Unbreakable, Unbroken, Unbroken, It's a fantastic story.
So let me just get back to, because I wanted to button up here with Jessica's described like 9 movies, the next 9 movies, and it's really only the next 4.5 months of her life.
Well, she makes them 4 at a time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying not like it's. I wish if I could figure that out.
I know you could. You'll figure it out.
I can only do 3. 3 is my maximum.
There's women that lose their mind because they can't find their Starbucks card. You're like, I got a flat tire, 20 minutes.
You know, the amazing thing is all those films she's doing, and not one of them is a porn. Because that one you could probably knock out.
Right, don't tell the police officers that.
Corey knows.
I feel like you had this down.
Corey's got the time frames for everything.
He's like, post-production takes QC takes a long time.
Not on porn.
Suspect.
He is.
I support porn.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, my absolute pleasure.
So we're going to link everything on our website so you guys can find all that stuff. I'm going to get a big pile of links from you. And we're going to throw everything up there because it's all fascinating. And then let's get together again when you can update us on all the stuff that has happened to both of the films and all the upcoming stuff and give us progress reports on what you've got going on next, because you are fascinating, and I'll speak for Pete and say we love everything about you.
Thank you.
Think of this as your platform. Whenever you want to come on.
Awesome. Well, and then a side note, because we didn't talk about it, but I should talk about it really quickly. Something the fans have asked, so we started doing a show called the Scream Queen Stream, which is on YouTube.
Yes.
So it's just like a behind-the-scenes look at our lives.
Wow.
So warning, if you get offended easily, it's not your kind of show, because it's really just like us when we're hanging out, when we're at horror conventions, when we're doing prep. We just got back from Ireland and Scotland for the first ever Screamvention, which is the first horror convention in Dublin. You're going to see a lot of that, but it's definitely not
for the faint of heart.
Yeah, it's just us being real, usually with a lot of liquor involved.
All right.
Especially like anything from the Dublin, Scotland, because that's what they do over there.
And that's a website?
It's a YouTube show.
Okay.
So we actually have weekly episodes. We release them Wednesday on our Patreon, Friday to the general public.
Nice.
So you can go and check it out. And it's just kind of like a behind-the-scenes look at my life and Heather Dorff, my partner in crime's life. And just sort of see, well, everybody kept on like being like, we want you on all of our stuff, and what's it like to be you, and we want to see more. And it just kind of got to a point where, you know, although I'm on Periscope and Vine, and I really love those platforms, I wanted a way to sort of show the other side, because I feel like I'm constantly doing work and I'm pushing my work out there.
Right.
But
just a long form, hey, here's what it really is.
Yeah, this is really just us. And if you have it's just us hanging out. And people, like, it's the first episode, Dorf was trying to show me how to cook. I'm a really bad cook. Like really bad. So she was like, I'm going to show you how to cook. And we've done this before, and everyone was like, that's fucking hilarious. We should film it. So finally we were like, we should film it. And like something else, like another part of the first episode was watch this Dorf segment, which is I always make Dorf watch like the worst videos on the internet because I get such a kick out of it. And I'm like, if I like that, then probably other people. So I made her watch a video called One Guy, One Jar.
Okay. All right.
So I have to say, I really respect the fact that you say, you know, it's an inside look to my life, and if you're easily offended, it's not for you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Disclaimer, you gotta do it.
Seriously.
We did not get a picture with Ashley before she left. So
Come
don't
on.
let you get
There will be lots of photos.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
That's what you wanted.
No, it's what's what we want.
That's what we wanted.
But yeah, so Twitter is Jessica Cameron _. I love Twitter. I tweet a lot. All my movies have their own pages. So does my production company, Small Town Girl Productions. You can find me on Facebook at Jessica Cameron. then if you add my personal page, you will get politely directed to the fan page because Facebook has a $5,000 or 5,000 person maximum. So my apologies to you. I'm on Instagram as actress Jessica Cameron, and then I'm on Vine and Periscope. And Vine and Periscope have very much the same wording as my YouTube show. That they're just my random. They're not for promotional purposes. Yeah. It's just me fucking being real. So you'll see like shenanigans. You're gonna see cat videos. You're gonna see fucking ridiculousness. Definitely check out the YouTube show as well because it's fun. It's fucking fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show.
Thank you.
My pleasure.